Welcome back to TV Movie Mistress. I'm Mo.
I'm Carly.
I'm Shanna.
And we are back to talk about a fantastic show. I don't know. I'm tired, y'all. We're keeping this in. I'm not going back. Fuck it.
Everybody listening has no idea what's happening, so that's fine.
Good job.
Keep it in there. Let's confuse everybody.
It's fine. It adds charm, okay?
It does. That's why they listen for these
for the
moments.
charm.
For the charm.
This is take 10. No.
Might as well be, honestly. I don't even care. So we're back to talk about our favorite vampire show of the moment. R.I.P. the originals. But
yes.
I was thinking about doing a rewatch, but I wasn't, because I love Klaus. Like, I love Klaus.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
But to our current favorite vampire, for me, Lestat. I'm sure it's probably different for all. Shanna, who's your favorite vampire in the show?
It's so my favorite vampire. I also
pick correctly.
I'm going to let the audience know that I have read all the books. I have read them multiple times. I'm a huge Anne Rice stan. I go to New Orleans and I go visit Anne Rice's grave. Like that's how much I shut up. Awesome. So my favorite vampire in the books, but in general, are Louis and Claudia.
Okay.
And I think, because I've also listened to the podcast, so I think I can kind of give you an idea of the world building.
Okay.
And the rules. I've heard y'all talk about the rules. What are the rules?
You're just do they do that? Do they glitter? What are the rules here? We have been struggling.
But it's this book is the one that kicked it off, but this book is also the only one that you ever get from Louis' perspective. After this, everything is from Lestat's perspective, except for there are solo books that tell the background of certain of the older vampires, but the actual overarching story is always told from Lestat's point of view.
Yeah.
So Lestat is Anne Rice's favorite vampire. So I see why Lestat is most people's favorite vampire. He's the most fleshed out. He's the one that's given the most to do.
He's my favorite type of toxic. I just love it. It's just I feel like I'm saying that very calmly, but it's his favorite type of toxic character in fiction. But okay. Is it so? It's the same from the books to the show for you, Louis and Claudia?
It's hard to say because they've really I don't know if Louis is my favorite. Claudia's still always my favorite because I just love her story. And I also just read. There's a graphic novel adaptation of Interview with the Vampire from the perspective of Claudia.
Oh wow!
And I just read that.
That sounds great.
So yeah, it's from her perspective, it kind of reminded me of what the story was like from her point of view. So she's just my favorite, but she's also she's a in the grand scheme of the whole entire Vampire Chronicles, she's a very fleeting character. So it's
I'm sure. But I love the idea of the majority of the story being told from Lestat's point of view. Was season 1 told from Lestat's point of view? No. Okay. Yeah. So I guess they're gonna keep all 3 for Louis in this.
And I'm wondering,
they're probably just gonna until they're done with that book.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be just Interview with the Vampire until we're done with this book. And then if they'll literally go by books. So then the next one would be the Vampire Lestat. And then there's, what's that one? The one where they did that bad adaptation with Aaliyah.
Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned, yeah.
Stuart Townsend was Lestat, right?
Yeah,
Was
that
he?
was bad.
God, I've
Yes.
erased that. That was a terrible movie. Rest in peace, Aaliyah.
Your mind just blocked it out.
I just
It's
completely
okay.
blocked
Other
that.
than Aaliyah looking absolutely gorgeous,
Gorgeous,
That was
right?
it.
those
That was
books
it.
were, or that
Yeah.
adaptation was horrible.
Like the other day, I was thinking like I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Aaliyah ended up growing up to be like problematic
I mean,
because all
I don't.
authors are now problematic. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
every single one. Like I was walking through to this train. I was working to work, got on the train, and I just saw the wall was just blanketed with ads of like Snoop Dogg and like shoes, and I was like, wow. Snoop Dogg is like selling Skechers. Like, what is this universe I'm living in that like Snoop Dogg is like selling
But
sneakers? You
Snoop
know,
surprisingly unproblematic.
again, what is this universe? Um, but yeah, so that has how did we even yeah, so back to Interview with the Vampire. Okay, so that's good to sort of know your background and know who your faves are. Before we jump into more of the specifics of the episode, Carly, please tell us the fantastic details of this week's episode.
So this week's episode 4, was called "I Want You More Than Anything in the World." It was written by Colleen Abbott and A. Zell Williams and directed by Lee Van Atkin. Again, who I believe, let me see. Yep, he directed last 2 episodes.
Okay, that makes it feel cohesive.
Yes.
So before we jump into this week's episode, for fans of the show, Joanne is not here yet. I'm sure you've realized that like 8 minutes in. Um, and Shanna will be doing a fantastic job filling in for him. Outside of that, because Shanna is filling in for Joanne, and you guys, all of us don't really know her perspective on episodes 1 through 3. So far, altogether, this entire season, what have you thought, Shanna?
So I really, really like how they have adapted and kind of like fleshed out this part of the story. If you've seen the movie, if you read the book, this portion of the story does go by pretty fast. So there's a lot that they can like add to it and like interpret and like really flesh out with this story. And also because like they've changed the time period and all that. Like I love the stuff last episode with Claudia. Yeah, like I just think that they've done interesting updates. I think there's still some stuff that I can't tell if it's like they're hinting at it and they just haven't like gotten there to like fully explicitly say what it is, or if these are things that we're just not going to get into because they've changed the characters and changed the time. Because Louis a white dude plantation owner, not secretly gay. like all of these things that like very much inform the character now.
Hello,
I was like, did we lose Moji?
Mo.
Are you there?
I am there. I was
There you are.
but I muted myself.
But then,
But
okay,
then
but then we couldn't hear you.
I know, and I was saying like I basically like solved world peace while I was muted, but now I forgot.
Damn, we missed it.
So missed it. We had it that close.
It was that close.
So
Oh well, next time.
yeah, next time, easy enough.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so what I was saying is thank you very much for explaining your thoughts around the early episodes and sort of like where the show might differentiate, so on and so forth. As a reminder, Carly and I neither have read the books, but we have watched the movies, but we don't, or the movie? But I don't remember the second half or like basically the back end because I watched it at too young an age, probably. And my mind was like, no.
Again, obsessed. I think I've seen that movie a million times. Like I can recite it. I can recite lines.
I love that.
Okay.
I watched it a lot
Explanation.
when it was out, but like I don't remember. I think the only takeaway or the thing that left the most of an impression was Kristen Dunst's performance. But like that's literally that's it.
Yeah, it was a literal
Amazing.
job.
Yeah.
Amazing. You know, her first kiss was Brad Pitt.
Yeah. We all know that fact for some reason. Okay, so let's
Crazy.
jump into this week's episode. Carly, you already gave the show's title and stuff with the director. What did you think of this week's episode, Carly?
I enjoyed this episode a lot. And I think the main reason is Claudia, like Claudia. Not only was like Delaney like a tour de force, that performance was outrageous this episode, but also I like that the episode really is continuing and really delved deeper into this Claudia kind of like exploring and trying to find herself and exploring more into who she is and where she belongs and all that. I think that was I think for me the best part of the episode. And then we have, the breakup scene that just kind of tore me in half. That I like. I'm not ready to talk about, but like, it was fantastic.
Just a hint. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the direction in that scene just kind of did it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. This was, for me, the actress who plays Claudia, loved her, fantastic. My heart breaks every week we have Claudia on screen because at this point she is a grown-ass woman, but she's forever stuck in the body of a child. And, the way she tries to circumnavigate that, but, each time you think she's getting a little further, she hits roadblock. Like if we remember season 1, there was all that issue with like her, dating and ended up killing him when she's taking his blood, or, her trying to turn people, and the entire heartbreak that of like basically, Lestat whooping Louise's behind in front of her and the effect that had on her. It's just like kind of been roadblocks after roadblock for this child that Louis saved, quote unquote. So yeah, Claudia, I'm in a lot of emotions over this episode as well. This season mostly as well too.
So I think one thing I just wanted to like clarify around Claudia is that while she is in the body of a child, just because she was turned as like kind of a young girl, teenager, she doesn't retain those emotions.
So she's outgrown her childish emotions.
Yeah, her issue is that she's not a child, and she is seen by everybody else as a child.
Right.
Yeah,
that's her like resentment, but she doesn't like act the way she acts because she's essentially a teenager forever.
Oh no, that I kind of understood. I've always seen it as a grown-ass woman being trapped in the body of a child, and everyone infantilizing you, and that's
and she can't, like you said, she can't make so in the original story, in the movie they aged her up to like 10. In the original story she's even like closer to like 7 or 8. Wow. So she's like little.
That would have been awesome.
Part of it is because Anne Rice lost a child, and so she kind of wanted to write about like how a couple deals with like the loss of a child as well.
Gotcha, like a dead child. Okay.
Yeah. And so like a child that never dies as well, like that kind of metaphor. But like to me it's even more justified if she's even younger, but I get why they would want to like age it up, because like we have laws against children doing the kinds of things that Claudia needs to do. But yeah, she's rightfully resentful. They also have like made them more brother and sister, which is smart because, again, these characters are now Black and before they were white. So it like makes sense that them versus like Lestat would be more like brother sister kind of relationship. But in the books, like they're kind of, by this time that they've been together for so long, they're almost like lovers.
Gross.
That's interesting.
Like not in a like, it's because vampires don't express like love in the physical way that we think of being intimate.
Yeah.
Like their intimacy is through like their their companionship and their like hunting together. That's like how they do intimacy. So that's also like similar to how Lestat is always upset with Louis, because like that's how they express their intimacy. Like this show has made it much more like, oh, they're gay for each other.
They're fucking,
like they made the subtext text. But like, yeah, in the book, it's like their intimacy is almost always around blood drinking. And so that's why they're always so pissed at Louis, because it's basically like, it's like having a partner who feels so much shame around sex that they make you feel bad for wanting to have sex.
Yeah. And I totally get that. And I feel for Lestat in that case.
I like how you always bring it back to, and in that case, Lestat is justified for being abusive.
No, he is not. Lestat is in no way, shape, or form justified for being abusive. No. Domestic violence, bad, no go. I love Lestat. That's it. Those two individuals' truths dwell and argue in my heart on a daily basis. But away from me and Lestat, back to Claudia. For some reason, this ridiculous show where she's propped up to be a child is a hit in Paris. She's got groupies. It's sold out. They have to put in like multiple days. And Armand is at this point angry at her because she's not putting in enough effort.
Yeah.
Like, back up a little bit, Armand. Like, back up.
Although this episode, I was like, okay, Mo's gonna be happy because Armand, it wasn't like the best Armand episode. But like when it comes to Claudia, I'm not like, I feel like he was right in the things that he said.
But like 500
just like as a director talking to the actor that's performing the show, like you need to like do something with yourself.
But she doesn't want to do the show anymore, and they won't let her stop.
It was petty. It was a little petty. Yeah. This is the thing. It was a little petty. Like Armand
like a family
can
fight.
say,
go ahead.
Armand can say what he wants, but the way that the show has shown him, and especially in present day, Armand is petty. He does petty stuff.
Yeah, like, he's very insecure.
He's incredibly insecure.
Incredibly insecure, yeah.
The way he acts with Daniel is like so messed up. It's like
Daniel. Like, none of this.
Like, and it's petty. Like as much as he wants to be like, well, you know, I'm the director and da, 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 da. It's like, no, he was being petty. He and trying to like, because he refuses to exert any control over Louis in that way, he's punishing Claudia,
which everyone also calls him out on during this exchange.
You're not even here. Like you're not here. You're not part of this. Like you may be physically here, but you're not.
Reading a book there, like, I know I'm cute. Like,
like I have a name.
Yeah.
Louis is doing the most with his little conch and his little camera walking around Paris. He think he all that.
He's living his best Parisian American life, like post-war, super post-war. But what did you guys think about the actual play? Like because I think it was kind of cool, like seeing the butterflies,
I loved it.
The effect of like a person and just a fucking projector. Like, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
It's
But the
super.
Like I
play
could
itself,
watch
I think
this in a
the play
bar.
itself, I really like that those 15 minutes because like that's
Mm,
her chunk of the whole show is like 15 minutes. They said I thought it was awesome and like it was really dark and it has that kind of morbid humor like and I love things like that. I thought it was great and the fact that like it was such a hit in Paris like made sense to me. So like I understand her issues and resentment around her age and being viewed that way and all that, but like I I almost wanted her to like to or at least to see a little bit of her like enjoying that
mhm.
um
Yeah.
I don't know, that fame, I guess, for lack of a better word.
But it's also
Even
been
though it's
like
not obviously it's not
500
about that, but like
shows.
it was so great that like she had the
Yeah.
people like that were dressing up as her or whatever, and knowing as somebody who was on the other side of that, not to that extent, but like of like adoring what they were doing on stage. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, I would have liked to have seen that, even if it's just for like a little bit.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
she didn't get to enjoy it ever
Yeah,
because she knew that they were just making fun of her.
Yeah. And I just did some quick math. If you did 4 shows a week, 500 shows is 125 days. That's 4 months of doing this shit. And probably nonstop.
but it's probably did they say that that she did 4 shows a
500,
week?
yeah. Yeah, because
I
that
was
was
just
one of the
assuming that they
reasons.
literally did it every night. So 500
Well,
days.
Maybe
It was
a
it's like
not.
it's like a little over a year because then later Santiago says something like a year and a half later. Blah blah blah.
yeah.
Wait, you're assuming they did it every night or
I assume that they did it every night. So when they say 500 shows, we're talking past a year.
Yeah.
365 days equals a
I
year?
well, technically, I would even say if you're going like they're not theaters are not going to be open every single night. Like there's always going to be like a dark
Yeah,
day and blah blah blah, right? So like
yeah,
even if you said they did like 6 shows a week or they did
yeah.
5 shows a week,
Gotcha. It
that's
still like puts you
still
into a minimum. Yeah,
yeah.
like
I mean, it's
higher.
still like it's still like at least a year, like
Yeah,
at least a year, maybe
yeah.
even more.
And now that
That
we've done the logistics no one asked us to do,
yeah,
But no, Santiago later in the episode
yeah,
said a year and a half later, and like
gotcha.
when they were
I
talking
missed
about
that
this
part.
bullshit, you know what I
I
mean?
was
yeah,
stuck on the whole
So, and the
500
reason I say
days.
that like I
Yeah.
think they're doing it every day is because not only has it become like a weird ritual for
Hmm.
them to like have this eat this
Hmm.
person on stage, but also they're vampires. They can do it every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
And they're very much outside of the theater world that like go by the rules. I don't see them
Mm.
like adhering by like those
The
general
same
rules.
schedule
hmm
and
So,
time and all of
yeah.
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I
Okay.
figured
Okay.
500 days is over a year for her to like
Yeah.
be so over it.
Miserable.
yeah,
Yeah. And again, it's very much so like family where it's like she's taking herself as part of this coven. Like you can't just be like, I quit and leave. Like that's not an option.
Right.
It's literally
No.
yeah.
like family. You can't just leave and, be like, I'm done. But yeah, no, Armand is absolutely petty.
I
Um,
think he was definitely petty in his punishment. Like that was
mhm.
so
To
unnecessary.
wear the
Hmm.
costume
And
all the
that was like
time.
that's like a show of power that really
Yeah.
doesn't uh produce anything. But
Yeah.
like for him to like the notes that he had and all that stuff, I think that like
Yeah,
that was fair when it comes to like what they're doing like artistically on
Hmm.
stage. But like the
yeah,
rest was absolutely him being petty.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, for
And
sure.
that,
It's like I get him being like, "No, girl, like
Yeah, like because
you need to bring
she's
it."
literally
Like,
right, exactly. She's literally like just literally going through the motions.
yeah.
Like she's barely even opening her mouth. So he's just kind of like, at least if you're not gonna do anything, at least articulate. Like
Yeah.
I felt him on that.
One other thing I would note about this scene is no one is happy with Armand. Like other
No,
than like him and Louis and their bullshit. But you could also say with Louis having visions of Lestat, literally no one around of Armand is truly happy with him. The Santiago and the crew, again,
yeah,
they point out Louis having like special favors and
yeah,
all of that, and you can't really kind of blame them because this is a very new thing that they're living through, and I would be tired of seeing this bullshit honestly too. But we see that Louis and Amon's relationship has progressed to friends with benefits. um
Were
But
you guys? When you guys did you guys like? Because I was like, this is some like high level like theater people drama when they were just kind of like, oh, he's my companion. He was like, no, we're not in front of everybody.
so
I was
rude,
like embarrassed.
so
I was like
rude.
secondhand
Oh my
embarrassed for
god.
Armand.
Oh,
But again, this is why. Because this is why Armand is acting the way he acts. Is
Yeah,
because he's over here like, we're
yeah.
together.
he's like,
And
that's my
like,
boyfriend.
Louis like, are we though? Have we had
Are
the
we? Right?
exclusive
Like, do you
conversation?
have to be that honest? Is this the
Is
moment
that
to
what
like
we are?
truly be honest? Like, can you just not shut up? Say no
Oh
comment?
man,
Why do you have to be like, no, we're not? I'm gonna be factual with it now.
that's so
Um,
funny.
but
He's like, we
yeah,
never
but
had the exclusivity talk, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
you know
but
what
like,
I would do? I'm not even gonna
but he
lie.
said it
I
right in
wouldn't
front
use
of
it in this
everybody, and
situation.
everybody was like, "Ooh,
Yeah, yeah,
ooh,"
like that.
like
That's
you're leaving us,
rough,
and he's not even like that serious with
right?
you. Like
Right? Like you doing a lot. You
you're
should be
doing a lot, sir.
embarrassed. Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
But
Oh
also,
man,
I would
like,
also be Louis in this situation. I would be like, yeah, no, no, we're not exclusive. Let me
right? We
make
haven't
that
even talked
known.
about it
but I also
like
get
that.
why they're tired of Armand because, like, okay, last week's episode, right? Like when Armand was like kind of giving his backstory, it was the same situation before Lestat came and made Theater of the Vampires.
What do you mean?
Armand did not want to be in charge of that coven anymore.
Right?
And Armand is in the same place again. He
Yeah,
doesn't care about Theater of the Vampires. This is another reason why like Louis is so intriguing to him
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't care.
but no one
The,
forced them to like take the coven back.
well, but this is the thing. Um, he is
Need
the
sanctions.
oldest, so he is the leader. But also, before the coven became theater, basically, it was just Lestat imposed new rules,
Uh-huh.
and Armand is still like the caretaker, the
Uh-huh.
father, the rule follower.
Uh-huh.
So like if you like when it was like this underground like dirty coven, it was like we feed at night and we come, it was like that.
Yeah.
Those were the rules, right? And then like other blood drinkers who, were living like Lestat, like those are the enemy
Yes.
because they're going to give away our secret, right? So
Yes.
those are the rules we live by. Then Lestat comes and he's like, no, you can totally like live above ground, but created the Theater of the Vampire as their cover.
Yes.
And that is again a new set of rules.
Uh-huh.
And then he leaves Armand to be the
Yeah.
enforcer of those rules and to protect the coven. So like Armand goes from thinking he's about to I think what Lestat represented is not just like, a new relationship or like I think he was in love with Lestat and he was upset when Lestat left him. But it was also like I thought I was about to have a equal, a companion, someone to help me run this, and instead Lestat ran off and now I'm just trapped in a different but similar situation.
Right. In the same, I'm still in the same space. I don't want to
Yeah.
be doing this. I think even before like Lestat was like, hey, come up, come above. I think he saw Lestat also as like freedom. It's like, oh, he's gonna
Mm-hmm.
come and take everybody away, and then
Yeah,
I'm
he's
free, and I don't
he's
have to
he's
do this
gonna
anymore.
break the spell
Right.
of whatever this is that is like keeping us here,
Right.
and then it didn't happen.
Right. I mean,
Like,
and I think he's always felt that way. I think maybe Lestat was one of those like band-aid situations, but like it never really went away. But Lestat made it a little better, right? But him
Yeah.
leaving, then he's just kind of like,
Yeah.
fuck. And he's been in this. I mean, I feel like he kind of confirmed it in this episode when he was talking about his history. Like he's just like, he's in a place or leading this situation, this coven, and he didn't want it to begin with. And he still doesn't want it, So
And it feels like
he's like
he
reluctantly leaving these people.
yeah, and everybody senses that, but
Right.
wait, but I
also
would say
he
like it
doesn't want
feels
to give
like
it up to anybody. Well, he doesn't want to give it up to
exactly.
Santiago for sure.
But okay, but that goes back to what I'm trying to say, which is that like it feels like that insecurity that we've sort of heard mentioned about Armand, where he's trying to fill that hole through love, but Lestat leaves him. He goes to the coven, or like he had like without love, it's the coven for him. Like even though he doesn't want the coven, he needs the coven.
But then also, even if you look at present day Armand and Louis' relationship, really what it is it's someone who wants to change the patterns in their life, but doesn't know how, so keeps repeating the same pattern. Because like if we're being like fully real, as much as he loves Louis, he also loves having someone he has to take care of.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm like fine, you don't have a whole coven full of people that you're not taking care of in the present day, but like you're still doing the same shit with Louis. Yeah. You're still like, these are the rules and we have to follow the rules, and I'm taking care of you and like tuck you into bed at night.
Like, you motherfuckers who need to learn how to be single and by themselves. Just learn to love you and learn to know you. But
therapy would be great. Like instead of an interview, whether it should be is therapy with the vampire.
Absolutely. If they would
I would watch that show too.
Therapy with the vampire. Yeah. Therapy with the vampire coming soon.
Coming this fall, the FX.
I want it. Even though limited series, I take it. But yeah, Armand wants to hang out more, and Louis is like, not really though, and not Lestat, just right. Armand wants to talk about his feelings, his family, and Louis is like, do we really need to? That like, can't we just chill? And then Armand is like, I kept your secret, which feels like some bitch shit in my opinion.
That felt like a veiled threat. Maybe not so veiled. Yeah.
Like, if we don't have a relationship, I'm gonna have to go by the rules all the way. And it's like, wow. Trifling.
I do think that Louis wasn't saying like, oh, like slow your roll. I think he was just kind of like, you know, it's been good. You know, we can pretty much make it whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know, we don't have to like. It doesn't have to be like that serious.
Yeah.
Like,
and
he seems like he's comfortable. Like when he was just kind of like, oh, you know my mom's name? No, you don't, because I don't really talk about her, and that's all right. We could just, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like that big of a deal. We could just.
But Armand wants it to be that big of a deal. That's the problem.
Because he's head over heels. Yeah. And I think Armand is so, like, for me, Armand is so head over heels for Louis that right now Louis seems to be more important than the coven.
Oh, yeah.
And like and he's just like dealing with like the coven shit because it's like that's his duty and he has to for some reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like but when you're dating someone new, but you still got to go to work and then like do, like
right. You still got a human. You can't just stay in bed.
Yeah. You just want to cuddle with your boo all day, but no, you got to go to the job that pays the bills or whatever. Yeah.
Boo. Yeah. No, exactly.
Boo indeed.
Exactly. But for the exception that in my opinion, like Armand is just kind of like, oh my God, I have Louis. Maybe I could like be out. Except, but I don't think he can. It seems like even from the beginning, when we found out about his story, I think it was episode 3 or 2. It was like, it just always seems like he was very much like just, I don't know, waiting for something to happen. And because he was like, it seems like he's such a traditionalist or something that he can't even break that within himself. Because even when after Lestat spoke to everybody and everybody like left the, you know, the cave or whatever, like Armand was still there. Like, I don't know if he was, I don't remember what he was doing or praying or something, but it seemed like he was still like there upholding whatever it was he was upholding. So it's really hard for him. It seems like it's hard for him to break those, that.
And that's probably why, again, Lestat was so refreshing, because Lestat makes shit happen. Lestat is the party.
Lestat is that friend, you know, that's just kind of like, you could just apologize to your mom later. Like, you don't have to ask for permission. You know what I mean? Like, the one that gives you, Lestat is the one that gives you permission to do the things that you want, but you know you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, you probably shouldn't. But like that you want to do. And Lestat is that. And I think Lestat was that for Louis in many ways. And Lestat was definitely, in my opinion, for Armand. That
Oh yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We
And
also kind of see. Oh my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the thing too, I don't know if like, because this show has been taking things that are like subtext and making them text.
Mhm.
The thing about Louis in particular, so the thing about all vampires in this world, like especially like the ones who become major characters, is like part of the reason that they're turned into vampires is because there is something, a talent or something that they possessed that
Mm.
that is not only attractive but like something that like is enhanced once they become a vampire, right?
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
with Santiago, like, and we see in this episode he does the mimicry, like
Mhm.
that's kind of something that he had before being turned that gets amplified as he's a vampire. And with Louis, it's kind of the fact that people are attracted to him.
Mhm.
Mm.
Because one thing throughout all of the books, even though like you never get it from his perspective again, is that whenever these like older powerful vampires come into contact, they all kind of fall in love with Louis a little bit.
He's the Mary Sue.
Like he's just beloved within the vampire community,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and even more so because he kind of rejects being a
Mm-hmm.
vampire,
Which
that they
makes him
want
more
him
attractive.
even more. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
very weird because you're like you would think they would look at him almost like a pet because they're so much more powerful than him, but they like listen to him and like take his opinion
I mean,
seriously.
and I think you saw that in the scene after he breaks up with Lestat, or he lets
Yes.
Lestat
Oh
go,
yeah. Pimp
and he
Louis
comes
came
back.
out.
You know, he's
Yeah.
like telling Armand like what to do, like what the plan is, and
Yes.
then he calls him Arun, like his I guess original name, and then
Oh, that.
Armand
Yes.
responds
Yes.
as yes, Matra. So I was just kind of like, oh,
Yeah. That
I love
was
that
powerful.
you
Yeah.
know kind of fill that in for me
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, that makes total sense. I just saw it as like a like a kind of like
Did
a
it
sexy
though?
thing
Cause
between the two of
like.
them, but like that makes way more sense. I really I like that.
Yeah, so it's like it's very interesting to me because like as much as Armand is like very much so stronger than Louis, and we see him like kind of using all these powers on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like more on that later because if they don't give us what happened in San Francisco, I'm gonna be very upset.
Oh, I really want that to be next
Definitely
week.
gonna be
But
6 weeks.
it's
Yeah.
like he I think that's really the tension is like he's clearly hiding something, keeping something from Louis, like fucked with probably
And
Louis and Daniel's
mm-hmm.
brains. But at the same time, there's a part of him that can't say no to Louis, which is why I think we're even doing this second interview. Because like it would have been so much smarter to never bring this man back into their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
But Louis was gonna keep pushing it. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's
And
something
he
we
can't say
definitely
no to
see he
him.
does.
Yeah.
Exactly. Destructive or not.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. We also see Louise's why can't I feel like I can't say his name right tonight. We also see Louise's mental state when he talks to Lestat and Daniel asks if Louis is schizophrenic, which according to the laws, you can't turn someone with like a mental whatever, but they're acting like they're doing a full series of mental and health tests before they
This is
turn
also
someone as
like the
well.
early 1900s. Yeah, nobody did a brain
Yeah,
scan on
Right.
Louis.
exactly. Like,
Right. Were you schizophrenic? Did you see yourself as no? I don't.
like, well,
No,
let
I
me
don't
retract
think
my
so.
sayings now. Like, what are y'all?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, y'all in your made up rules. Okay, y'all. In current day, Amon says he's not aware of, he wasn't aware of how constant Lestat's presence was in Luis's mind in those early days. Now, my question for y'all is, do you think it would have mattered in his pursuit of Louis?
I don't think it would have mattered in his pursuit of Louis, but I think it would have mattered in like some of his like pettiness, insecurity. because
That
like
would
you
have
see
probably
that,
made it
like you
more,
saw
don't you
how
think?
much it bothered him. What,
Yeah.
70 years later, when Louis is just kind of like, yeah, like I'm not gonna say that like I felt him touch me, but like he was there, kind
He
of.
was
You
the
know what I mean? Like
air.
that bothered
Yeah, like
Armand so much.
ah,
Like you could, it
ah,
was like visible, and you were just like, dude, that was like 70 years ago, and
yeah,
you've had him this time, you won or whatever,
yeah.
So it's like I think that would have been, or we
Especially
would
if
have seen, and if
Lestat's
he would have
not
seen it a
dead.
lot
It's one
sooner.
thing I would feel one way if I knew for certain if I was Amon, if Lestat was dead. But if Lestat is not dead and you're talking like this about this man you presume to be dead,
Yeah.
that's yeah, that would bring out the insecurities hella quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If he's still, and to me, it's just kind of like, I get it, but if he's like still talking about Lestat in
Mhm,
this way,
mhm,
so like obviously they had their issues, and that, but he's still kind of like, hey, when me and you were falling in love, I was still feeling this guy.
yeah,
I was still feeling his presence and talking to him and all that stuff.
yeah,
Like that's gonna hit me a little
yeah,
sideways too. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and yeah, this episode definitely like made me kind of see more the power that Louis kind of holds in the relationship, and just sort of how, they're all such very passionate people, but they're
Mm-hmm.
also monsters.
Right.
But there's a sort of vulnerability that we see in them because of that passion, because of that love. Like they still need love from each other while being completely horrible pieces of shit to everyone. That's
Right.
not like
Be-
them.
I think that's that. Maybe that's like their humanity. That's still like the ability to love, or like need or seek love, is still
Maybe, maybe.
a little bit of humanity, if you will, still in
That's
them.
that bad part
Yeah.
of humanity. Oh,
Well, yeah, and I think too, obviously
Hmm.
the pet, all of that is the humanness.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the what's the word? The curse of the being the
Right.
vampire is not like the blood drinking. It's not the sunlight. It's not like the curse is to live
yeah,
forever, to live apart, and then even when you find companionship over time, because like think about any
Hmm.
relationship, right? Like over time it has its ebbs and flows. Now those ebbs and flows are like decades and
Right.
centuries.
Right.
yeah.
Like,
And again, which is also, oh my God, you guys are gonna be like, she's taking it back to Lestat. I don't mean to, but it kind of shows Lestat's desperation of Louis in a different light.
yeah, well, I think that's the other thing too, and again they hinted at it last week. Lestat is constantly seeking a companion.
Yes.
Like, you know when they meet him, the violin player,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas, that's his like current companion at the time, who's human, but he ends up
Hmm.
turning Nicholas too, like, and then I don't remember what happens to Nikki, but like they, it's like that, like Lestat is like constantly, like when they really start going deep into like his backstory, you'll see like there's a lot of and that's also why it's kind of fucked up how he does Claudia, like basically acting like I don't know nothing about no other vampires, because my man got a whole network of folks that he doesn't
But
interacted
again,
with.
that just sort of proves, like, shows, like, I don't know, it doesn't show shit, but season one, it really felt like he was just trying to keep them apart from the world, keep Louis apart from
Mm-hmm.
the wider world, keep him in ignorance, almost like you're my toy. I don't want you going out there
Mm-hmm.
where there are all these terrible vampires, which also, yes, they are all fucking terrible. Good luck finding a good one. They don't exist because y'all asses aren't even good.
Well, I think that's the thing too. I think it's a response, right? Like, so Louis and Claudia were like, maybe this will work if I do keep them separate from the rest of the vampire world, if I am the only
Hmm.
one that they know about and that they can rely on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
that doesn't end up that way.
But I mean, we don't know what's it gonna end up being like if we ever find out what his reasonings for it is. But I can see a part of Lestat that actually truly, sincerely was completely head over heels for Louis, and so much so that he turned a little girl into a vampire because Louis, requested it. So it's just kind of like, I can see how he's just kind of like, not only did I do this and maybe that shouldn't be seen to the outside world, but in order to protect this family, this episode he called her our daughter, like to protect this thing that I've created that may or may not be like okay with other vampires. Like I can't tell them that there's others out there that are like great, because then they're gonna be like, oh well, I want to meet them, you know what I mean? Like then they're gonna want to go out there, and maybe that's not the safest thing for them, knowing what he knows about the vampires out there, you know what I mean? So like I could see that, not necessarily him being like the terrible person, whatever, but like as actually as a type of protection in a way.
But it's really
them.
like use your words though, Lestat. You can't just keep your family hostage. But that
like I
wouldn't
can
be
see,
the show
to
now,
me
would
it's
it?
just kind of like, I see it like as him, like when your kid asks you something and you're just kind of like, you like blow him off. It's not like you're never gonna tell them, but you're just not gonna do it now. No,
Exactly.
like
And they don't
the
have to
Easter
do
Bunny
it.
exists. Keep it moving or whatever. So like I saw it like that. Like it was only a little chunk of time, so we don't know what it would have been like or not. So
no, but he was living with some impatient motherfuckers, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I think too, it's like going from like to use the parent analogy, it's like going from the time when like your kid kind of like worships you to like your kid is rebelling against you, and so you're not like eager to have hard conversations with them when they're in that space. It's not like little Stout was reading parenting books.
Right. He was like barely standing her as is.
Oh my god.
He's like, it's like how to create a emotionally resilient vampire.
Right.
Like
Someone did have the cutest picture on Twitter. I don't know if I saved it or not, but they were talking about how like Lestat and Claudia had matching outfits in season 1, especially during the ball. So like
they were
I loved it. I was like, oh my god! Like
I mean,
like he always makes sure they looked fly.
He did.
He did.
But like, and like, I want to say that like she got her like taste for or like knowledge of like fabrics and all that stuff from her dad. From her
she's
dad,
definitely and I always say she's more of Lestat's daughter.
Absolutely,
than she is Louis, because I don't know what Louis be doing. In terms of her temper, her personality, so on and so forth.
She's definitely
Lestat. This is a human child, like Jesus Christ, Claudia. She was just a lot from the get go. Okay, so from
No, I was gonna say those of us who know 14-year-olds know that feels.
Oh yeah, they are so mean. They are so
girls,
mean for no reason, and it's like they don't even be meaning to, and they just
no. And sometimes they don't even know that they're doing it.
Yeah, that's the wildest part. It's like you can't even be mad because it's like you don't even know your mouth cuts daggers. It's cool. But yeah, so we're gonna switch over to Santiago, who catches Claudia journaling in the basement area where they keep like rats and dead bodies, and it kind of teaches. Well, it comes off as a teachable moment from him to her, where he's like, anybody could have walked in on you and seen you reading this, and it's against the rules, again the goddamn rules, to journal about the existence of vampires. So her putting pen to paper, and you see her try to throw it away, but he fishes it out of the box of rats and tells her he's read it, but then he said he just read it right there. So either he moves faster than the speed of light, or he's lying and he had read it previously.
This was a rookie move on Claudia's part. Like, why are we journaling at the
job?
And also at the job, and then also why is she? Like not the book that has all your secret thoughts in it. It's just I'm like, why? And like you already know you have a giant lie, right? You have a giant secret that you're keeping, and a secret that in this world means death.
Yeah.
That they will kill you for
and
this.
that they can read your mind for it too. Like you can't open up your mind
Exactly.
for that.
So like, because I don't know about you, but when I'm like writing something down in my head, I'm thinking the words.
Right.
Yeah.
I just like completely rookie move from Claudia.
I will say my
Absolutely.
favorite thing about this scene though is the movement of the actor who plays Santiago. Like he looks like he's stalking prey. You
That's
know,
exactly what he's doing.
right? But he
Yeah.
also makes you comfortable, which that's the worst type of fucking prey. Don't make me comfortable. Um, before you kill me, no. I would have scratched your eyeballs out or something. But yeah, he at one point feels like he's giving her good advice, but there's also something kind of menacing about it. Like it's just fantastic acting, and his
Yeah, it
pale
is.
ass vampire face. It just works. It
It is.
works.
He used her admiration of him like against her in a way, you know what I mean? To like get, because he's been onto them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
like
they keep
he's
letting
like
their guard
using that
down. Yeah.
against them in a way to get close and like,
Yeah.
be able to do
Yeah.
that.
And she's still in this damn blue
Yeah.
dress. She goes to visit the dressmaker,
Oh.
and after her visit to the dressmaker, they have dinner. And this is where things go sideways because, yes, Louis is talking very fucking pretentiously. Yes, that is a thing that Louis does. But Santiago mimicking Louis just makes Louis go off, and then this is where you kind of like you just sort of see Louis as like this cute little twink sometimes, like, but
Yeah.
he's also a fucking dangerous human that can move at the speed of light, and we
Yeah.
see that in the way he attacks Santiago. But then like we also see Amon's power because he just makes everybody else go to sleep.
Yeah. But okay.
Did he make? You mean the coven?
Yeah, the people at the table. That
I
was the
thought they
coven,
just kind
right?
of did that. Like he was just kind of like enough, and they just did that as a sign of like,
Yeah.
kind of like
Oh, I
when
thought
a
he may
sergeant
put them
says
to sleep.
attention,
Ah,
Yeah.
why'd they all
Well,
put their
That's what I
heads
he
on
thought.
the
definitely
table?
made like everybody
In
pause,
the
like the
restaurant,
humans, like
Yeah,
yeah, which
yeah,
is what like we've seen Lestat do that in the first
right.
season,
yeah.
with the
I
folks
thought they
at
were
the
sleeping
card
because they
game.
all put their heads on the table. You can pause and not put your head on the table.
I don't know.
No. I think what I think happened was that Armand paused was happening in the whole restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was like, when he did whatever, slapped his hand on the table or whatever, everyone did. Like the coven didn't go to sleep. They just kind of did that as a sign of submission in a way.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
That's
definitely a
that's what I
different one.
thought
Yeah.
happened. But if
Okay.
they fell asleep, I'll
I thought
rewatch
they
that.
fell.
Yeah.
I have to rewatch the scene. If anyone out here is listening,
Yeah.
let us
Fine, I'll
know.
No,
rewatch it.
I think they definitely like were like, oh, it's they were like, oh, we just be very still, act
Yeah,
like we weren't just
yeah.
laughing at this 2 seconds ago.
And
Oh my
I saw it
god.
as a way of like when you say attention hut and everybody kind of like
Mm-hmm.
straightens out, like that
Yeah.
type of
Gotcha.
sign
Yeah.
or thing.
But
And
let
then,
me just say
but the
this. Let me just
thing,
say this. It's ridiculous to see this much anger from Louis just because this man said the right thing. Not the right thing, the truthful thing, which is that you're not that good. Wait, no, my bad, my bad. You're not that good at what you think you're doing.
well, okay, so look, I kind of understood Santiago
Right.
because Louis, when he gets in this thing, like about his art, and he is very like enamored of humans, and he's like, just look at them, look at what they're producing, and the way the world is rebuilding itself, and he's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so pretentious. It's like, it's like I just arrived, at the Cotton Club, and like this is my first time seeing the dancing girls.
Yeah.
Like he's so extra. He's like, I don't know. It's so I get it. I get why it's annoying. But Santiago is essentially, it's like
Yeah.
mocking him. It's like that thing that like you're sibling
yeah.
does, where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not repeating after you. I'm not repeating after you.
Like, we'll fight. We'll fight. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Like, oh God,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it is, and that's also why Armand had to, like, I don't know, like, whip his dick out and like be extra, because he's like, y'all are acting like
And they
children.
were. Wait, but this is my next
Yeah.
question. Does Louis grabbing hold of Santiago's tongue mean Louis is like stronger than Santiago?
It
Because
seems
I
like it.
thought
Because he's
Santiago was
older,
older.
it seems like.
Yeah.
Is he older than
It
Santiago?
seems like
I
it. Because
thought, yeah.
Santiago was the youngest, and Santiago wasn't there when we met the coven the first time. Like I thought like Santiago,
Yeah,
because he was like I think he mentioned his
they're
name.
probably about the
Yeah,
same
he was like a
age.
stage
Yeah.
actor. So, like I think
Yeah.
he's
Like
from
16,
the neighborhood.
17. Yeah.
Yeah.
The neighborhood.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that the
Yeah.
era or whatever, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, they're probably like somewhat equally matched.
Yeah. They put all the wigs on Jacobson this episode, all the wigs. Well, this and next week's episode. And I just rewatched that scene, Carly. It does, I would say, it does look like submission. But the next scene this episode is my favorite.
Hold on. Wait.
Yes.
Two things. I do think that I'm glad that Louis like kind of put his foot down, like because he was just letting everybody
Yeah.
say whatever they gotta say, and he was like cool with it. But like it came to a point where like it usually comes to a point when someone's doing things like that you have to check them, and I like that Louis checked them the way he did, because he was kind of getting out of hand with the mocking and all that in front of people. You know what I mean?
Habitual line stepper Santiago. Like that's
Right, that's who he is.
Yeah.
Very much
So I like that Louis checked them like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to pretentious or not, I think that this kind of newfound like zest for life that Louis has found in Paris, or this version that we're getting, like has been it's kind of like, to me, I see it like what happens after you leave either a long-term relationship or a bad relationship, that he's just kind of like out there finding himself, and everything seems, bright and colorful and great because you're outside of this like darkness that he was in for such a long time, back in New Orleans, and then when they were part of the war. So like I like, as annoying as it could be, like I like seeing Louis, because we had him for so long last season just be fucking broody and annoying. Like I would rather have this Louis just be kind of like excited about life and art and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So
and another way.
No, I'm definitely like happy for him. I just get why like Santiago started making fun of him, because he's like,
annoying.
You too.
Another way I kind of
and also because he can't do that to Armand. That's another reason, Santiago, because he, as much as he hates Armand, Armand would
mess him up.
Like.
And also, I mean, and I think a little bit.
Wait, I want to say. I already forgot what I want to say. Oh yes, the happiness that Louis is exuding kind of reminds me of Louis from season 1, because I just remembered he never thought he would go and see the world. He always expected to just staying in New Orleans, run the business for his mom. Like he was giving his sister the tickets to go see the world, and he was just like, he had always accepted he would just be stuck here for the rest of his life, even when the stock came in the picture. So I could see how him now living this life where he's in Paris and he's doing all of these things that he never imagined. I could see why that would get the endorphins going. That's what I wanted to say on that. But go ahead, Carly.
I don't know what I was gonna say. It's all right. Sorry about that.
Okay. Let's see. So yeah, dinner goes sideways. After dinner, or I guess the next day or whatever, Louis goes to see some art man, and the art man basically tells him he's mid at photography. Like, just sell your camera, my guy. Like, it's okay. And Louis almost kills this man, but he goes about his business. His self-control.
I just want to say, I immediately knew that was a Gordon Parks photo.
Nice.
I don't know.
I was like, come on, Gordon Parks. I was like, and I knew that Louis was not going to live up to Gordon Parks. So, I was
He's
like,
trying.
oh, this is about to
He's
be bad.
trying. Armand takes
I like
Louis
that
on
the
a. Oh, my
show.
bad.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
obviously, I don't know if this is in the book, but I like that the show, like especially in this episode, really hammered that home. Like Louis was not good, and then they like
Yeah.
showcased two, great real
Yeah.
life photographers. So like, I
Yeah.
appreciated that of the show.
Like
They were
he's still
like,
trying.
you're
Yeah.
whack.
No, because that's pretty much what he was doing with those,
Yeah.
what those photographers were doing too. But like, also like, I feel like Louis should have been like, he's only been in Paris for like a year and a half,
Yeah.
let's say 2 years
Yeah.
tops. Like you've just been taking pictures for 2 years. Like you
Like
still
he
have a lot to
feels a
learn, sir.
lot about these
Right.
pictures. That's the
Right.
problem. He feels a lot. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily
That's his
equal
problem,
greatness.
period.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all of our problems. We feel
Right.
a lot because it's heightened as a vampire.
It's so
Amon
funny.
takes Louis on a date to a museum. Fabulous. I loved all the fact that they were. I'm sure this like a real ass like either a castle or a museum. I love that they were able to get some of the scenes that they did. But Lestat is also on this date with them, and this is where Amon tells us of his earlier life, where he basically was sold into slavery and then prostitution and then his maker Marius, by how he was sick and then was eventually turned, but his maker didn't really want to turn him.
But his
Just
maker also like lent him out to his friends.
yeah,
Right?
which
Yeah.
that's not cool, Marius. Isn't Marius also Lestat's maker?
No, Magnus is
No.
Lestat maker.
Okay, both
Lestat's
M's.
maker.
Okay, damn it. Okay.
Magnus, I'm guessing Magnus was the one who used to lead the coven that Armand led when.
Okay, so they knew each other.
Um,
We have someone who would know, Shanna. What?
so I'm trying to remember how they said it in the show. Magnus was the one. He was the painter, right?
No,
I cannot.
That Armand knew.
no,
That painted Armand into the Marius. Okay, so Marius and Magnus. Okay, so Marius, I believe that's Armand's maker.
Yes.
And Magnus was the head. Basically, how Armand came into this coven is that this was like a religious cult, and they like worship, like it was like essentially Satanism, right? Like they considered themselves vampires, and it's like a curse, and we are being cursed because we follow Satan and we drink blood, and they have all these rituals, and that's why they live underground. And he was stolen by them, and then eventually became their leader over time. And even like he was kind of like sold to Marius. He's essentially like been a slave like most of his life. So he's like kind of like gone from like this person who was like a slave and like passed around and had no agency and no power to then becoming the leader, but not wanting the power.
He's always needed
That's
something
like,
to worship, is what it feels like.
but very much so indoctrinated and worshipped and told like
what to do and how to be.
What to do and how to be and all that kind of stuff.
But the Roman coven, he said this episode, the Roman coven sent him to Paris to lead the coven that Magnus abandoned. And Magnus is Lestat's maker.
Gotcha.
That's who's Lestat's maker.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And Lestat is right, or was truthful, was honest when he said that his maker made him and told him nothing. So his maker, like, he wasn't lying about that. Like, even though he kind of did it to be like, I don't know anything, I don't know anybody, don't ask me any more questions, he wasn't lying about that. Magnus was kind of like in the place that Armand was by the time he met him, where like Magnus was over it and like made Lestat and then killed himself.
Okay. Damn, Magnus.
He was not a good maker.
Yeah, not at all. Which makes Lestat make even more sense. Oh my God, guys, I am so sorry. I keep taking it back. Like, that is weird. That's some pick me shit. I'm gonna
What are
not
you
make
talking about?
every.
Wait. What I miss?
that you
I said something about
that you keep going back to.
I was like, that's why
Lestat.
Lestat's so broken, because and it's like, why am I being such a pick me for Lestat?
I
I'm gonna
love it.
try to
That's
bring
funny.
it back.
Can I just say that Lestat, like, in this scene, hearing Armand tell his story was really heartbreaking. But I think one of my favorite thing about this scene was Lestat, and because I
Being a
didn't catch this the
dick.
first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it, watching Lestat watch Louis during Armand's story, I found fascinating, because I feel like that's when Lestat really like started to get like really annoyed, that I think later in the story he's he just lets out this like huge like ha, and at first I was like, what the fuck is he doing? And the second time I'm just kind of like, oh shit, like I think that's him really seeing that he's losing Louis in some way. Like
But
that's
Lestat is
that moment where
Louis.
like he was just kind of like, because before we saw him in the museum, before we saw Lestat in the museum, back in the bedroom with the candle and all that, he was still kind of really chill. He was smoking a cigarette. He was like making fun of Louis for being like, I love you. You know what I mean? But like that, yeah. After he saw Louis and the way Louis was listening and like kind of probably feeling how Lestat, how Louis was feeling, like I was floored by Lestat's reaction to Louis hearing Armand's story.
But this is such a mind fuck for me, because Lestat is Louis.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what is it? It's like Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, and it's like, to me, obviously, because it's Louis, it's like him hearing this is kind of like what it's maybe growing his feelings for Armand or whatever, but like it's him kind of letting go a little bit. And then at the end of the episode, we saw him actually let go of, for now, let go of Lestat.
Now, for a week, probably.
Well, because I don't know what's gonna happen, right? I don't know if like if that's just what happens this episode, and then next week, Lestat is like, I'm back, bitch. You know what I mean? And like,
it still feels like something's gonna happen.
You still love me.
Nice try. Like, who knows? But for now, is Louis letting go of Lestat, I think really, really, truly started like the end. The beginning of the end was that scene.
Yeah, no, I agree. I could see that. Claudia goes to hang out with her friend again, doesn't want to go to the play. She gets caught and dragged back by Armand, who is over her shit. He puts hands on her and he says, I know what you did to your maker, which this is why Claudia is so fucking comfortable, because she doesn't know that technically their secret has been exposed.
Yeah.
And she,
but still, a rookie move. Like, I don't, like, all these people can read minds, and they're hella
she's been
strong.
blocking her mind successfully. And again, she's been accepted into the coven. So once you've been accepted into the gang, you're not thinking like they can jump you out.
They can jump you out.
I don't know if that's how she's thinking about it.
But
they can't take her back from the coven. Like, she's in the coven gang. Like,
but at the same time, right? It's like, I get that you're like not, or not at the. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think what it was is that all the animosity and the hostility that is like clearly bubbling under, I think she saw it as like, one, hazing, and two, as like they're being that, like, she thought it was about them being pissed about Louis and Armand, and it's like, no, girl, they hate you too. They also dislike you.
She wasn't reading the room correctly, but with Armand telling her like, I know you killed your maker, that tips over the pot, and she goes back to their apartment, and she rightfully so yells at Louis, like, you dumbass, like, you are stupid and weak, like, and I agree with her, like, this is some bullshit, Louis. You should have told her that there was someone who knew your secret at minimum, so she's not going around looking stupid with Armand. And
or at least could
the part
prepare for anything that would for the shoe to drop.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then the audacity when she says, like, he threatened her, and she's like, that doesn't sound like Armand. Like, really, Louis?
Bitch.
Really?
Ugh.
Like, I was so bad on her behalf, but I'm glad she chewed him out, which is why I thought in the upcoming scene that he was going to break up with Armand, because you put hands on Claudia. Like, I thought that was just the natural conclusion of, we're going to break up because you have put hands on Claudia, but no.
But she didn't say that. She just said that Armand threatened her.
Yeah, okay, threaten, put hands is the same thing. Like, I mean, with words, okay. No, you don't get to be threatening me with words either. No, you don't get to threaten Claudia. If someone threatened you, either of you, I would break up with them. How's that? Verbally, I would break up with them. And that's what I needed Louis to do here.
Louis just doubled down.
Yeah.
He did the opposite. He did the opposite.
Unfortunately.
I really felt in my heart when she was like, you picked another one. When she was like, another one, I was like, ooh, that hurt. That was nasty. And he deserved it.
Yeah.
He deserved it. Because it's true.
It's like, what happened to me and you? Now it's you and him and him and you. And I was like, oh, she's big mad, and she's not wrong.
And she's not wrong. He deserved
points
it.
out, like, you wanted the coven, but, like, come on, Louis, you were eye fucking Amon from the first
jump, right?
Yeah, like, this was inevitable. Either, like, you were gonna fuck Amon and ruin things, or Claudia was gonna, like, try and get into coven and ruin things, and you both just decided to ruin. The only right answer would have been leave Paris, which neither of them was willing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard because, and this is always like kind of the sticking point of their relationship, is and again made even more prominent in the adaptation with him explicitly being gay, is like, he's looking for male companionship. Like, he, and he loves Claudia and wants to protect Claudia, sees her as a daughter, sister, but Louis wants, like, kind of, and this is also the source of her resentment, right? He's looking for essentially an equal, and she knows that she can never be the equal because she always has to be protected. She needs someone to protect her. And as much as she says, like, she's just looking for vampires because she wants to, like, know her origin and understand where she's from, she's kind of like, I need a backup plan.
Yeah.
Right, because he's going to leave me clearly at the drop of a fucking dime.
Yeah, and she's tried to make a person last season, and she failed each and every time. So, yeah.
But, it's like, to add on top of what you said, Shanna, and her resentment, I also think it's just kind of like, he gets to have a companion, a lover, or whatever, and she will never get to have that. Not the same way. So, like, I think there's also that, that underlying resentment where it's just kind of like, he's going to go and have, like, love affairs or whatever, and I'm still stuck in this child's body, and who's going to want me? Who's going to want to, like, I may not ever have that. So it's the introduction, or not introduction because we've seen them before, but like the continuation of her making friends with the dressmaker and like trying so hard to like make that connection with this woman, and she is making that connection with this woman because they're like outcasts in very different ways, but like and they have that in common. So like having this fight with Louis in that same episode where she's trying to connect with this woman, like, just makes all the sense. And it's just, and it becomes even more heartbreaking because she's still trying to grasp for that connection that no matter what, I don't think she'll ever have with Louis. No matter what he says, no matter what happens, I don't think that'll ever happen with Louis. Not in that way.
Whoever the him is over her, unfortunately.
Right. And like you said, it's not just that, like, it's because she not only can't go out and
Mhm.
find a companion, like, because she can't find one amongst the vampires, because there's not ever going to be one that's her quote
Age,
unquote
right.
equal.
Or
But also, she can't make her, like, she's even reliant on Louis or Lestat when he was alive. She's reliant on one of them to make her a companion. And Lestat was pissy and petty and wasn't going to. And Louis rejects vampirism. So it's like, that too is like annoying. It's like,
it's like she's
it's like,
powerless in so
you're
many
gonna
ways.
leave me.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna leave me. You're not even gonna like set me up. And then you add things like, I mean, this was true of the old version of Claudia in the sense that she was so young. But then with this version of Claudia too, you add that she's like a woman, Black. Like, it's not like a little Black girl can just like
Be
be
anything.
out here in these streets.
Right.
That's harder. That's definitely
Right.
harder. Yeah, she Scott didn't want to turn this little girl, but Louis had to have her.
But what did you both think of what she told the dressmaker, who I can't remember her name right now, I'm sorry, but like where she was just kind of like she's always had this darkness in her, or is it darkness that she's chasing? How do you guys feel about that sentiment, or that kind of thought process that she's having about herself?
I feel like that's some of like Louis' like
She got that from
shame
Louis.
rubbing off on her. Yeah. Because I feel like, Lestat is the one that's like, yeah, be a monster. Like, being a monster is awesome.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's my full-time job. Yeah. Yeah.
That's who Lestat is. He's the one that's going to give you permission to be awesome.
And not make you feel bad about it. It's supposed to like
Exactly.
Louis eating fucking rats, like my guy. Like, but you'll still kill people. Like, again, conflict of interest in your lifestyle, but whatever. But I would say for me, I don't know, because I saw that moment more as like a moment of like her being able to like be honest with this dressmaker, stuff she wouldn't have been able to be honest with Louis about. So I liked it for that.
I like that they seemed like they were both able to be honest with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And the thing about like not being honest with Louis too is it's kind of like, you know how you're just like able to be honest with a stranger in the way you can't always be with someone who knows you really well or has a particular image of you. Like, I think that's like that part of herself is hard for her to express to Louis, because like as much as he's like, sis and I respect you and da da da, he does still kind of see her like a little girl, and like she's innocent and all this, and also I think too it's like his guilt over her existence, right? Like, she's like, it's like when you're a kid and there's like stuff you want to tell your parents, but you also know that like talking about it is something that is going to hurt them more. So you just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Simultaneously at the same, Jesus Christ, that's what those both mean. Simultaneously, we get Santiago snooping around their apartment, making fun of Louis' pictures. Wow.
Again, rookie move.
Like, why? Open, just not giving a fuck. There's pictures everywhere. Not terrible spies. They would not survive in like a Tom Cruise, Jason Bourne universe at all. Like, they are terrible at hiding any and all information about what they do. I wouldn't be surprised if Louis' like social security card was in a drawer somewhere in there. Like, I'm so sick of it. But at the same time that like Santiago is just out here being nosy, we get this incredibly emotional scene between Louis and Lestat, where I thought he was going to break up with Armand, but I guess not. He's actually sort of putting aside he's giving himself permission, like we stated earlier, to let Lestat go from, being a third mind or second voice.
I mean this in the best way. Like, don't take this wrong. Don't rate me. I'm not on Twitter anymore, so if you want, you can tweet at me. This was so gay. My God, like I'm gonna walk myself. I'm gonna walk myself in the rain with my dead lover that I see.
What, you've never had an over dramatic moment in the rain, Shanna? Oh,
by yourself?
We're gonna take off
with your lover and your mind lover.
Of the rain, it's loud. No one can hear you. And no one's around.
We're gonna take a stroll to a park bench in the rain in Paris.
And that's why Santiago was making fun of him all episode, because he's a bit over dramatic in everything. And
also now knowing not now knowing, we knew it was all in his mind, but like knowing it's all in his mind, I'm thinking also about like the fact that Santiago had like his homies like surveilling them, and I just imagine that like one of them is like watching Louis in the park and they're like talking, this motherfucker sitting on a bench
talking to himself, just not even covering up nothing, just on a bench.
He pulls down the umbrella and it starts raining, and it's just like, what are we doing, Louis? What are we doing? Like, this is like some Usher singing in the rain, just like all of it, but it was sad, even though he was technically talking to himself. But I have a question, because I don't know who the fuck is who at this point when he's having this confession where he says, I embroidered like my name above your heart. Was that Louis telling Lestat that he embroidered his name, Louis' name, in Lestat? Or was it that like Lestat embroidered his name? Like, whose name is in the fucking cover?
I think Lestat embroidered his name, and Louis knows about it. He knows about it.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe Lestat embroidered Louis' name?
Yeah, Louis' initials. Yes.
So how did Louis know about that?
It's
for years.
Clear.
For decades.
Yeah, it's clearly something that like Louis wasn't supposed to know, like that Lestat thought was a secret, but Louis did know about it.
That's sweet.
Yeah,
that's sweet.
That is.
Yeah. Sam Neill, I'm loving his version of Lestat. I'm gonna have to apologize now for whatever his next role is, because it's gonna be hard for you to shed this one, my God.
Yeah, it's weird too to see like his face when it's not like all Lestatted. And also
I love that Lestatted up.
Also, like, I'm pretty sure that like that accent and everything is fake. It's like seeing what's his name who played Spike on Buffy.
Yes,
like,
James Marsden,
not British.
or James.
You know who else I was thinking about? Jax from Sons of Anarchy. Like, that's how I sort
him
of
too.
saw him.
Oh yeah, he's incredibly British.
Sam Reed is he's so good as
Why did I call him
he's
Sam
like
Neill? Who's Sam Neill? That's an older.
Sam Neill's an older actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Who's Australian, I believe.
Yeah. But he's like Sam Reed as Lestat. Not only is he great, but he's so beautiful. Like, I just love looking at his face and his jawline. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but the scene before Louis goes, "Oh, let's go out hunting," before the breakup, that Lestat is sitting smoking a cigarette, his hair's back, and he's sitting on a chair by a window. He looks just like Brad Pitt. But I was just like, whoa, that was creepy. I don't know if that was on purpose.
He's giving Brad Pitt tease for sure.
Oh yeah. And another thing I noticed that this scene just reminded me of is how, I don't give Armand a lot of compliments. You guys know that, but that entire scene in the library where he was sort of like describing his life and how he came to be, and his eyes were like delicious caramel brown.
Yeah. He's so beautiful. He's so beautiful too.
Gorgeous.
He's also beautiful. Yeah.
The
other thing about Armand,
I gotta finish the list.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
And then, like, in this scene with Lestat, where like he starts disappearing, and all you see last are like Lestat's eyes.
Yeah.
It was just beautifully done. They don't do a lot of effects on this show, like this, in terms of like the fire, like the X-Men shit. But when they do, they are using it well. And when Lestat disappeared, I was like, oh, this
Next one
is
is
terrible. But yeah, go ahead, Shanna.
so they also aged up Armand. Like in the books, that's also kind of like the appeal of Armand, is that he was turned like kind of in his like late adolescence, like early teens. So he is still also kind of young. He's like probably
Wait, that was
like,
his appeal to Louis? Problematic
no, his
too?
appeal to
Okay.
everybody. Like you know, he's still like given the time period when he's turned, he's like, you know, like young boys are like almost kind of like
They like,
prized.
yeah.
And so like he's kind of at the age where he can pass for a small man. Like unlike Claudia, who is very clear
Like
that
she's a
she is a
child,
child.
yeah.
He can pass for a small
He
man.
comes off
But
as
like
innocent, but he's a fucking ancient.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Louis. That's how Louis described him when he said the first time I saw him, he looked like a somebody playing dress up as a gentleman or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like the appeal of him. And kind of Armand is kind of also similar to Louis, and like before he's turned, that's why another reason why he's like a slave and kind of like passed and sold is because like these people want to possess him. Like so yeah, he has that like, but then he's like super duper powerful, and I can light fires with my mind and like make everybody
Please the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say this planning they were doing, or that Louis was doing, I was slightly confused about it, because he was like, Ben, you don't want the coven, give it to Santiago. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. And he's like, give Santiago a bone. And he's like, like, I'm like, well, what is the plan here? Because this doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere. But I guess thanks for trying, Louis.
No, I think
it's just true that like everybody knows that Santiago is shit.
Pretty much. But I think what Louis was trying to give him was kind of like a way out. Because he's like, if you give the coven to Santiago, he's going to fail and everybody's going to like see that Santiago's shit. So then that takes care of the Santiago problem. And if he succeeds, then you don't have to stay in the fucking coven. You get to make that decision. So it's like, we kind of like a win-win in a way. But I just, with whatever Santiago thinks that it was that he found in the Louis and Claudia's apartment, I don't know if that's gonna go as perfectly as Louis is posing it to him, but you know, it could work.
We'll see.
It could work.
He's gonna I don't know, Twitter's been extra. I for some reason I went on Twitter and I was like, why is there so much interview with a vampire on my fucking time? Because some of this shit was kind of like spoilery. And then I realized it was like Twitter like reset my thing from like my from like my whatever, like the regular page to like my For You page. And since I've been looking up a lot of interview with the vampire shit, it was just nothing but interview with the vampire. I was just like, I hate you, Twitter. But
I was gonna say like I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but I am really interested to see how they resolve this, how Santiago is or isn't involved, and since this whole thing with the whole like San Francisco, what happened in the first interview is like a new element to it. All I'm gonna say is Armand is very powerful, and the truth of Anne Rice's vampires is that the longer you live, not only the more powerful you become, but the more powers reveal themselves. And like Armand's been alive for a very, very long time.
Yes, he has. He has. And
so he might be petty and he might look young, but he is not naive.
But he is stupid for Louis, and that is probably going to end up being his
I mean, he's really adept at finding a way to seem like he's above all the things that are happening.
But you know he's not, especially when he tells Louis in this rain, like, he wants Louis more than anything in the world. And the way you just see the pimp and Louis come out, Like, guys, let's top out the week on misandry because we're all women. Like, when you got a guy,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I could make you like, anything. Like, you
Well, I'm
just
just saying,
know.
when somebody wants
Yeah.
something more than anything in the
Like,
world, what are they willing to
Right.
do
anything
to
in the
get
world.
it?
But
Yep.
I'm still the prize who now knows that like I can make you do anything for me. And then this can, maybe you guys can explain why he then calls, why Armand calls Louis maître, however you say that French word,
Maitre.
maître.
Maitre.
Like, why
Yeah.
does he give him
Like
that?
think of
He's
like
the
maitre
boss
d,
now. Maitre d'. No.
like maitre d at a restaurant. That's what it
Gotcha.
is,
But like,
essentially.
that means like, what, Louis the boss now? Because like then Louis says like, I'm good at running shit, so he's gonna become more active. But again, like, why is, because it's a title of honor? Because then we see like Tuan and Celeste call
I
Santiago
mean,
mate three. So everybody calling each other
the
mate three.
the
Who's the real mate three?
the direct translation is master.
That's what I'm saying. So
Just
why is Armand? So let's use master then. So why is Armand, like, it just felt like their BDSM relationship flipped because, like, again, as soon as like Armand said like, I want you more than anything, you just sort of see this light go off in Louis' head, and then like Armand calls Louis master,
yeah,
and it's
Well,
but
Louis called Armand Arun first,
and then
which
he
I think
calls
that's
him
what kind of
master.
triggered the master of it all. So it's just kind of
Yeah.
like, like I'm calling you by like your original name, possibly the same way that
Uh-huh.
your master did, your original master did. Um, and I'm also like calling you by like your name, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just kind of, I thought that it, like the way I saw it until I'm speaking to you guys now is like, I saw it like a, like a kind of like a relationship thing, like a thing between the two of them. Like, I have the plan,
Uh-huh.
I'm giving you the plan. We're in this together. You know what I'm saying? Like he just broke up with fucking Lestat, so
Uh-huh.
he's like really in it, and he's kind of giving off that vibe. So gave him the plan, and he's just kind of like, okay, Arun, and he's like, all right, master. To me, I saw it like a weirdly sexy thing, but like that says
Yeah.
more
Oh
about me
no,
than
I
anything else.
definitely get that some. It
that's
felt like
definitely
some
Right.
sexy.
sexual
But
empowerment
like no, but I
thing
saw
that's
it more
going
like
on.
that, not like,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna be the one, like
Yeah.
not like you're the
Well,
leader
no,
of the
not like
coven
he was
now.
gonna
More
take
like,
over the
you're
coven,
coming
but
up with a
yeah.
thing and like, like you're my master now in a way.
Okay. I saw it more as like some power play, slightly sexual things going on.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. But
And I think too, it's like one thing that folks who are manipulating
Mm.
you are really good at is making you think that you're the one in
Mm-hmm.
charge.
oh, have you seen
That
that?
these ideas are yours,
Have you seen that trend on
ideas.
TikTok where like a bunch of women keep calling their men big dog to get them to do shit? That's the vibe it's giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, everyone's being messy, everyone's plotting. It feels like half the coven has already been turned by Santiago. Louis and Armand are kind of two steps behind, honestly. And then we switch back to present day, to which Louis and Armand are arguing, and they are loud as hell, to the point where like Daniel puts on some headphones while he's looking up files that he's been sent, and it's just tense. Daniel is also having flashback to the original interview that he had with Louis back in the 1970s. I don't really know what these pictures are about that show Daniel and Louis. Like, why are these pictures being sent to him? Maybe it's not. Maybe these pictures were not sent by. Maybe these pictures were not sent by not Daniel, by Armand to troll Daniel. Like I initially thought maybe they were sent by Lestat. Like I
Did
don't know. I'm thinking.
I think
no
it was the
wait did
organization. Those is
Is
part of the
that
yeah,
like an
it's the
files.
organization for real? That's
Telemaster.
a real organization.
It's the tele. Did y'all not watch Mayfair
No.
Witches?
I think
Have
I
y'all
watched the
read
first.
any of the
No,
Mayfair
I
I
think
saw
I
the
saw
Witches?
first
maybe
episode
half
and
of the
wasn't
first episode,
super
and I
into it.
tapped out. Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't good, so I'm okay with you not having watched it.
Sure.
But the thing about the Mayfair Witches series is that it intersects with the Vampire Chronicles series, and Mayfair Witches got into this organization, which is a big part of the whole universe, which is the Talamasca. So the Talamasca is this like organization that studies supernatural things. It's been around since like what's that time where they were fighting the Crusades, I think. And it's been around since like the Crusades. And yeah, and they kind of like we operate in the shadows. We collect knowledge. We do not
Gotcha. One of
interfere.
those.
Like every
So,
other shady, weird organization that does things like
Old-timey
that. Yeah, yeah.
organization, yes.
yeah. So yes, it is a real thing in this universe, the Talamasca.
Okay.
Right. So I think it was them that sent him all these files, and part of those files was like surveillance, and he looked up his name, and they had surveillance pictures on him from what it
Yes.
seems like is that night
In the
when him and
70s.
Louis got into it the first time in San Francisco.
I still pose the question, what do they want our guy to do? Like, what do y'all want Daniel to do?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, the Talamasca operates in secret, and then part of it is that they always want to know more. They're always trying to like find out more, and two, they kind of are keeping the secrets of this supernatural world from humans. So I think they're on alert because they're like, he did this interview years ago, and it never got released or whatever, right? And so I think they're on alert because they're like, wait, why is this happening again? And what is the plan? And they're trying to like figure out what is going on. And they also know something happened that night, right? Because they have surveillance where you see him kind of like unsteady, and like Louis and Armand like taking him out. And so basically they know that this man had an encounter with two vampires where he walked away still human. And now, decades later, the same vampires are engaged, and that he's a reporter. And then years later, the same vampires are engaging him again. So they're kind of like, what the fuck is happening?
Okay.
So and like him he's like remembering what may have happened. You know, it was like, it seems like it was like a blur. I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, where I got the impression that during season 1, he was like, oh, you know, I did a lot of drugs back then. I don't remember shit. But like now he's remembering
more
things, bits and pieces, for whatever the reason. And
well, I think he thinks it was drugs.
And it actually was.
And it was
right. And now right. But my thing is just kind of like, do you think he's remembering because like Louis got into his mind and maybe like unlocked something by mistake, by happenstance, when he was trying to like be petty a couple weeks ago? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it might be that.
Yeah, because it was like all of a sudden now, because he spent all of last year or all of the beginning of this interview, let's say, couple of weeks, like having nothing happen to him like this. And all of a sudden it is now.
Like they've jumbled up his brain a bit too much.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Too many people in there poking around.
Exactly.
Like,
Petty 1 and Petty 2. And did the episode feel like it ended awkwardly for y'all? Like
it did, yeah.
Right? I was like, what happened? I had to like rewind.
It sounded like it ended in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
No, it did, and because I pirate the show. I pirate
we
the
won't tell the one.
We won't tell. Yeah, we won't tell.
I thought something was wrong with my version of it. I thought something was wrong with my link. I was like, wait, what's going on?
Why are you still doing that in 2024? Oh my god! No.
Look,
hey.
I don't have the time or the wherewithal to
All
be
these
like
streaming
adding and
platforms,
letting go of these. Yeah, like
they ruined the model.
Attach it to Hulu or something I already got. Like I
can't do
anymore.
No, I feel you on that for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where the episode ends, and next week looks to be like a episode we'll be spending in the 1970s, and Louis is gonna have a
Oh,
wig.
yes.
So
This is the
there's gonna
one
be a
thing I've
lot.
been looking forward to this whole
Yeah.
season.
I I so want to get into it, and I just really want to say I love Eric Bogosian.
Yes.
Like Bogosian
Good.
is acting his ass
Yes, he
off
Fucking
has.
ass
every
off
week.
every week. But
Yeah.
like everyone was so good this episode, and they're good every episode. But like I feel like everyone just stepped it up this episode, like
Yeah.
completely. Oh, and he's fucking phenomenal.
And I love I mean we haven't like seen him, but I feel like whoever they have to play like young
yeah.
version of Daniel. Oh my god, that is a young Eric Bogosian. Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Who is the casting director?
Yeah. I'm even like, does he sound like him? Did they manipulate his voice? What's happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible.
Like I'm so into it. It feels like they got the same casting director from This Is Us, because I swear that woman was a
On it.
time traveler.
On it.
Like
Casting directors be
like-
holding it down. Like they are.
A
Top-
good
the
casting
good ones are
director
good
will
on
make
for a
or break
reason.
a show. Yeah,
Yeah, they really
absolutely.
can.
yeah.
They really can.
Like I'm so excited. Also, I'm excited to see like, you know, Leisure Suit Armand and like them like in San Francisco,
hair,
like
70s
in the
hair.
club and all
Me
this.
less
Which,
excited.
by the way, like I think, yeah, she wrote Interview with the Vampire here in San Francisco.
Maybe that's why they did that.
Anne Rice, while she was living here. Yeah, I think there's like the house. You can go see like the house where she wrote
cool.
Interview with the
Awesome.
Vampire. But yeah, so I love that they're like bringing that element, and the original movie was set there because that is where the original interview happened. So like I'm glad that they're like keeping that up and like featuring San Francisco.
Good homage.
In the show. Yeah.
So that was the episode, guys. I enjoyed it. I'm sad Lestat is gone, but he better be back somehow next week. Like I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I mean, overall,
I have a
really
question,
enjoyed it, though. Go for it.
I have a question. No, like this whole like mix up with the pictures, with the Stein pictures that were in instead of Louis pictures, and now Armand and Lestat are fighting about it. Like, what do you guys think that's about? Is that purposeful? Is someone trying to like set Louis off, or was that Armand trying to do it? Like, I couldn't find like, I don't know, put my finger on it.
I think Louis might have alternate personalities that we are not seeing. That's or maybe he blacked out.
Not you.
I don't know.
Actually, Louis is schizophrenic and bipolar.
I mean, it's not to like bring evidence as in his brother. There might be a family.
I mean, yeah, that's also true.
You never know.
My theory is that it's one of two things. It is either that Armand has messed with Louis' mind to the point where that whole period of their like time together has been like altered in Louis' mind. It's like very like rose colored
like
glass.
their entire time, the 70 years they've been together.
I would say that.
No, just the Paris years.
Okay.
Wait.
And so
Paris years, but also the time in San Francisco.
Well, I think definitely something happens that Armand also like altered.
And I'm sure
around, but I'm talking about
like as a favor to Louis. Like maybe whatever happened with Claudia, he was like, I'm doing this to help you out.
Yeah.
But he's also done it when, I'm going to presume, during this interview with Daniel in the 70s.
Yeah. And so I think that Louis put those pictures in his portfolio. I think Louis, until Bogosian pointed it out, thought those were his pictures.
Yeah, because he thinks he's a good photographer when he's not. Yeah,
because in his mind, everything like the Paris time, like other than like Claudia, whatever happened to Claudia, right? Which I'm sure Armand has like altered the details of in some way. I think he sees that Paris time as like my photography, like all like yes, Claudia, and that was sad, like, but you know, I think he put those in there, and it wasn't until again, like all of this stuff is starting to get knocked loose, and you know, Daniel pointed it out. I think that made him like look at it again.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
and I love how
I'm
Armand
a
was
firm
like,
believer that that's what Armand is doing. Absolutely, because Paris couldn't be this great and the happiest time when he was in Paris or whatever it was that he said. When whatever happens to Claudia happens to Claudia.
Yeah,
like
he
there's no way
wouldn't be this
that he has
calm
such
telling the
fond memories
story.
of Paris like that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and
because the way he's always talking about Paris, he's like, it was
the best, and
the
like
best time. It was the world, just be good.
I'm telling you, that's the one thing that like really,
yeah.
that's the one thing that like really did it for me. Where I was just like, that was the best time. Like it was the most magical time, really.
Magic.
We should
Better than
have that.
anything in life. Like that's really what he thinks. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna be really. I know. I'm looking forward to finding out how they handle Claudia. Like that, I am looking forward to. But I also know it's very heartbreaking. But I'm looking forward to it.
My thing is it all gonna come out this season, right? Like that's what I'm wondering about
now. Current day Lestat. Like I'm not waiting till season 3 for that. I need that this season. But we do have feedback.
And also I wonder if okay, we all feel like it's very clear Lestat is still alive, correct?
Yeah.
Feel that. Okay, so I wonder if either in present day or in 70s we see Lestat again before, like not Lestat in Louis' mind, but actual
like a real Lestat with like 70s feathered hair. Oh my God, I need that in my life.
I hope we get him for
I think so.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, now I want that, Shanna. Thanks. Thanks. And if I don't get it, I'm gonna be just devastated.
Lower your expectations by Sunday, ma'am.
No,
you have to. Don't do it.
Oh my God! Now I'm like truly imagining Lestat with Farrah Fawcett hair, though.
Like with the
like BGs.
Yes, he's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be incredible. That's why we haven't seen it yet, because they want to keep it as a surprise. That's it. That's what that's it. That's it.
Yeah. I can't wait now.
I'm with it. I'm into it.
Mo, I need you to be into it.
Sure. I'm into it if it happens.
With the middle part? With the middle part and the like.
No,
he's so beautiful. I love it.
I'm like, mind you, I'm doing this. This is a audio podcast. People can't see me like swaying my head back and forth like I have feathered hair.
I cannot. But no, I like this episode. This was really good. But I feel like I do need a bit more action. And hopefully we get that in sort of the second back half of the season.
I can't believe I feel like this season, given that we're in like episode, like when I started to look at it, I was like, oh, we're recapping like episode 7 or something like that. I was like, oh no, we're like so much has happened. So these 4 episodes.
That's crazy, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I want to keep it that way, because then, you know, what is it, 10 episodes this chunk? So
no, it's still 8.
8? No. Well, whatever. We still have 4, and if 4 is gonna give us a lot, like the first 4 have, I'm good with it. It's just when it goes by fast that it's like it kills me, and I feel like last too fast.
Maybe 9. We might be getting 9.
9. How many did we get? I know it's one more than
we got 7 last time.
So I think this is 8. I think it's 7 and 8. I mean, IMDb does exist.
I know, very true.
We're all out here guessing. Interview with the Vampire, all episodes. Season 2, we are getting 7. Oh, that's season 1.
I was looking at Yellow Jackets. I was listening to y'all talk. I can't believe you haven't seen Yellow Jackets.
That's bananas,
by the way. Like,
you're gonna love it.
Yellow Jackets is so
Yellow
good. Yellow Jackets, and also The Wilds, which got canceled, but The Wilds was equally as good.
You thought equally?
I well, first season especially. second season in boys.
I know. Boys.
Boys.
I agree.
There's Jawan's weekly misogyny in there.
Gotta give him
Like,
what he asked
boys.
for. Gotta give him what he asked for.
But that first season of The Wilds,
It was great. I
Oh
just thought
my
that
God.
Yellow Jackets was just like so far way more superior, like because of like the relationships and all the like girl shit, and then all the
Yeah.
like possibly supernatural things, maybe not. You know what I mean? Like I love that.
I mean, I like the supernatural element of Yellow Jackets. The Wilds, I liked their flashbacks, and then I also the thing I really liked about The Wilds is the two indigenous girls.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Their backstory was so
It really was.
interesting.
I liked The Wilds a lot, and it did suck that season 2 was meh, and then they canceled it because I've,
Yeah.
but
I was
could've
like,
watched a couple
maybe you
more.
should introduce boys because no one cares
Right.
about them.
Maybe you should have. That's what you get. Nobody cares about them, you said? That's funny.
Nobody likes boys, so
Mo, you gotta watch those. Although I'm gonna just shut up
I will
about
put
it.
them on the list. You gotta watch what I told you to go watch
I
that you haven't
know.
watched. See how that
wait, what's the one? What's
I
that
don't
one?
know. What did I
Shogun.
told you? Shogun. Yeah.
Oh, Shogun is great.
I know. I gotta
Yeah.
watch that.
Fantastic.
I will literally watch Hiroyuki Sanada.
Do anything.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Walk around in a bear room. I don't like
that man is fantastic in anything he puts his mind to. But yeah, so let's jump
for no
to
reason.
feedback. This was feedback that I actually missed after last week's episode. So this is from Spotify, actually, from Contrapasto.
Ooh.
Yeah, like Spotify works different. Like people leave ratings, but they don't leave reviews. So, I just know there's like 16 or 15 ratings on Spotify. And someone left a comment under the episode. It's actually under the season 2, episode 2 episode. Do you know what it means to be loved by death?
Nice.
They said, again, this is from Contrapasso. I need you guys to upload this on YouTube so that I can leave longer comments. I have a lot to say. Also, I feel
What's
that,
that
and
email,
I will
Mo?
try.
What's the email?
Right? No, I will try and upload that on YouTube and see if people listen via that way. Contrapasso also says, what's that email? I can't stand you. Also says, Louis refers to himself as a botched vampire in season 1, episode 2. It's something from the books as well. Sort of like as a reflection of how Louis sees himself. And I'm sure that's something we mentioned in season 2, episode 2. So that's our first review. And then, of course, we have our review from Jawan, who is not with us this week, but he did want to share his thoughts. So I'll go ahead and play that.
Hey, Jawan.
Oh my God.
Mistress listeners, this is Jawan's world tour.
A super low, Mo. We can't hear it.
Is it? Hold on.
Chime in and give a male perspective, a much needed male perspective on Interview with the Vampire.
Wow.
Episode 4, I Want You More Than Anything in the World. Just overall, again, this was a pretty decent mid-level setup episode, just kind of setting up the narrative drama for the season to come. I thought it was pretty good. Overall thoughts about character development. I really enjoyed Claudia this episode, just kind of like seeing her struggle with the new role that she has been, or really what has been forced upon her, which I feel is a punishment, less severe than what she should have gotten based on the laws of the vampires, but it was still a little bit tragic to see, that she is forever being reminded, as she said, of being trapped in the body of a little girl. But you can see how that is really, taking a toll on her. And we see later on that she wants to develop more relationships outside of this coven that she so eagerly wanted to find, but she's finding herself unable to pretty much, fit in with their dynamic. So that was pretty interesting, but still tragic to see Louis in this episode. You know what? I'm a little bit. I can never like really quit Louis, but he's him and Armand, they're kind of being fuck boys together. So I'm kind of over. I'm almost over it, but I believe that some of the veil is revealing itself within that relationship, the manipulation, and Louis doesn't really have anyone to blame but himself for getting played for like 150 years or whatever. So that was the least interesting part of the episode. These two vampire niggas just being fuck boys together. Santiago still remains my nigga for life. Y'all fucks
Of
hard.
course.
You
Problematic
can't
white
go
man,
wrong.
sure.
I really found it funny when he mimicked Louis to a T. That was the best part of the episode for me when he mimicked Louis to a T. And also Vampire Head. Who knew? I haven't seen that since True Blood. But that was pretty fucking wild. Present day stuff it's still interesting. There's a lot of things that are remaining to be seen with that. Of course, my only source material is the movie. This is starting to play out a lot differently. It still has the bones of what the movie did, and I think there are some things that may come to pass. I'm not gonna say too much on that, but I do see something. I do see some things kind of going in particular directions. Is all I'm gonna say. But I'm still hoping for left turns that are coming. But all in all, very decent episode. I'm very excited for next week because of what the preview showed, and really interested in seeing like the rest of the story unfold. I'm really excited. So thank you to Carly and Mo for holding it down while the male voice is not fully present, but you will get more. You will get me again starting next week while this misandry continues this time. Thank you very much for appreciate every single last one of you, and thank you, Mo and Carly. Appreciate it. Bye.
Can't stand him.
Oh my God. Needs to just stay in Stockholm.
Seriously, his problematic self. Of course, he loves Santiago. Why wouldn't he love Santiago? But yes, thank you, Joanne, for sending
Thank
your
you,
thoughts.
Joanne.
Yes, as we continue to uplift misandry in your absence. But yeah, that's all we have for episode 4. I want you more than anything in the world. The words of a simp to a bitch. Ooh, who said that? Who said that? Carly. Why would you say
Wow.
that? Why would you
know
say
how
that?
Oh my
I keep it real.
gosh. I will also say from the books, if I had to say like my favorite vampires, like from the books, like in order, it's definitely like Louis and Claudia are at the top because like those are my first loves. But then it's definitely like Armand, Merrick, like there's some like ancient vampires that I really love. So yeah, like I know Lestat is the main character.
Yeah, he is the main character.
But for me, he's just the narrator. Like the vampires like I like really am in love with are the ones that like we meet along the journey. So I'm excited for us to get to like the ancients,
it's not the friends,
like
whatever. It's the friends we meet along the way. That's what.
Exactly.
I love Lestat because in the Lestat of the TV show is dramatic, and he's just drama in a bottle, and I love it.
And
I love it.
complex, and very complex.
Yeah, no, he
While
absolutely,
being
but
very
like
simple.
he is, and I like the way he loves. I hate the way he loves. You know what I mean? All that, but like why I love him and I love watching him, and I think Sam Reed plays it perfectly is because he's just so dramatic. He's so emotional. He's just kind of like, he's just out there. And he doesn't give a fuck, and I like that. I think that's very attractive, and I love watching him do that. So
Same.
I mean, it's like Lestat is like that, like love to hate
Mhm.
him guy, because
You
like
want to love him, but he's a
you're
dick.
like,
You know.
Oh, but see, but I don't
yeah, you're
even hate
like,
him though. Like I love him even more. Like the worse he is, the more I like him.
yeah, but it's also like you're like, dude, like,
Too much.
dang, just be
Right.
nice, just be nice for
Like
once. Why you always starting
that was
stuff?
my favorite part of season 1. I'll be honest, was just how him and Claudia would like try to be nice to each other, but then
Yeah.
eventually would just snap and just like
Yeah.
it's just like, and then he's just like
Like they just can't. Just be
It's
nice.
very
Be
hard for them. It's
nice.
very hard for them, and now they're in
It's my
Paris.
favorite.
I will. This is making me want to do a reread, and I can't because I promised myself I would reread Heartstopper this month, because it's Pride Month.
All of us.
But yeah, I'm rereading, and but I'm like, ooh, like should I reread Vampire Armand? Should I like now? I'm like, feeling in my vampire. June is not the month for vampires.
No.
It's always the
Gay
month for vampires, but that's just me. Yeah, that's
Gay
me.
vampires, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can work like that. It can work like that. But you know.
But it's like hot. I'm not trying to be in here reading about vampires.
Sure, you're gonna be alright. Turn on the air conditioner.
She said you're gonna be alright.
Yeah, it's gonna be alright. But thank you.
Like that's like October business when you feeling cozy and you want to like
not
candle.
relegating vampires to winter months. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's right now. I'm reading the funniest book of my life, and it's like a guy who transmigrated into a book, and he becomes a fish. And his pet and his fish owner is like this mute tyrant king. And this basically there's a system that tells him like he has to like get this tyrant to like him and play with him. And it's just the most silly, dumb shit ever. And I'm getting my life to it. So if I can read that.
And with that, I need to write my book because apparently they're just out here publishing anything.
Look, I mean, it gotta be good. It's the book is way more funny and eloquent than I'm saying, but it's basically a guy who becomes a fish and then falls in love with a king tyrant that's mute. It's called The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish.
Nice.
I'm getting my life.
Nothing about that would make me pick up that book.
Like the viewers can't see it, but let me show you.
I'm about to start reading Homebodies by Tim.
Here's the cover.
Tim Benton-Hurst. Have you guys read it? Oh, that's super cute.
No,
right?
I'm not.
That's a mute tyrant, and that's his little pet fish, and it's just fucking cute and adorable.
That's adorable.
I'm gonna look up your weird book right now.
Everybody that
and then I'm gonna look up like Carly's normal book.
What book did you mention, Carly?
I'm gonna start reading Homebodies by Tim Benton-Hurst.
Okay.
Homebodies.
What's it about?
It's like this young black writer is her life kind of gets turned off the line when she loses her job in the media, and then like writes this manifesto about racism in the industry.
Okay, then definitely very different from like a Fish Dan May.
But it's one of my like pride books, so I'm trying to read as many LGBTQ plus books.
I respect that.
This month.
I respect that.
Okay, wait. Yours is called Disabled Fish?
The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. The tyrant is mute, and the fish was a person. Huh? No, the fish doesn't speak, but as he like is in this system, he gets the ability to transform back into a human. Like you will
literally looking up disabled tyrant fish.
And everybody who like online talks about the book is like, this is the funniest shit ever, because it just be like
Volume 1.
Yeah, there's 3 volumes. I already have Volume 2 on pre-order. And I'm sad I'm about to finish Volume 1 because it's just stupid and funny. The guy
I may read this because this fits the LGBTQ genre.
It does. It absolutely does. Like the guy would just be like, it's boy love. Yep.
Nice.
The guy just be like a fish. Like, let me shake my tail feather so he doesn't get angry. And it's just because it's so stupid. But yeah,
Carly, report back. I can't trust.
I said I may. I don't
Look,
know. It's not really
it,
my genre, but like
look,
I don't know.
and it has like it doesn't have like a
Can't.
ton of pictures, but it also has like okay, like where is one? Where is this
It's not a graphic novel, is it?
It's not. It's words, but they have like 4 pictures throughout the
It's
whole
words.
thing.
It's words. It's
words.
words.
It's not pictures. But
Boo. It's a book.
yeah,
It's
I
words.
mean, it has great reviews, so people love it.
look, this is one of the like interior
Oh,
pictures.
You can't
That's
trust
like
the internet
no,
no,
it's
you
anymore.
can
unfortunate.
trust the internet when it comes to that. Like that's him. That's the fish become a man and the tyrant, and it's good.
I
It's got
love
like
that.
like it's good. If it's the
I love
LGBTQ
it.
of the month, then look, great
Yay!
reviews.
There you
But
go.
yeah. So that's it. That's all we got. I think we hit the 2-hour mark for those of you guys who wanted to listen to us talk about everything and anything in today's episode. I think we gave y'all that and more. But on that note, let's wrap it up. Shanna, where can the folks find you if you want them to find you?
I was gonna say I can't be
There we
found. I'm
go.
an enigma. No, I'm on Threads now.
Okay.
I migrated to Threads because I don't really be on Elon Musk's X.
I don't blame you.
It's
I
like
still have Twitter. I haven't updated my shit, so I think that's why it's still manageable for me. I don't see all this porn shit and nonsense that people complain about. 'Cause I have not
I
updated it in a month, in a year,
refuse.
or whatever.
I refuse to update the
Yeah.
app, and every time, like I would not every time, every other time I go on, they're like, "This app is out of date," and I'm
Oh,
like,
it
"I
never tells
know."
me that. Do you have an Android?
No,
Huh.
I have an iPhone. Why would you say that?
I don't know, because
Ew.
I've never been asked to. But you know what?
Ew.
It's the way I also have my settings. I don't have automatic updates or whatever. So it's like, again, I
Yeah.
still see the
No.
bird. So I'm just like still living my
Yeah.
best 2023 life or whatever.
No, they're trying to force me to update. But my Threads is Cuckoo Chanel, COOCOO Chanel, CHANEL. So yeah, if you want to follow me there, I'm still not like fully posting on there, like in the sense of I don't post as often as I used to post on Twitter, but I do occasionally like kind of like live tweet when I'm watching TV. That's like mainly what I use it for right now.
Cool.
Okay. And Carly.
I'm on Instagram at Carly Vision. Also on Threads, but I don't do that.
Keep it warm for us, Shanna. Keep Threads warm. It'll be there
No, it
eventually.
just
Yeah.
social media
It's like-
really takes it out of me.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
So
Damn it.
That's why I kind of like that, like, even though I'm on Threads, like a lot of people aren't on it and a lot of people aren't following. It's like both, where like I'm like, oh, this is kind of like early Twitter where I'm like talking into the void and it's fine.
But it's also like,
and like
Facebook,
I don't.
so it's like this can only get so wild, you know.
Well, it's also like I just don't. Like I don't have like the same connections and the same
no,
following, or like
absolutely,
people don't. So like it's just like sometimes somebody will find like a random person because I'll like hashtag a show. They'll be like, oh, like I'm watching that too, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, and I'll have a cute little conversation, and then it's over.
Is that you're not getting yelled at and berated?
Well, that's the plus.
Exactly. That part.
Always enjoyable.
Very.
Okay, well, you guys can find me, BugDreamer01, and find the show across all the platforms. Just type in TV Movie Mistress, and there's the Facebook group. But, oh yeah, check out my YouTube channel. There's a bunch of shit there. I've got content now. Like it, love it, subscribe it, all that good stuff.
Share
But
it.
other than that, we'll be back next week. Carly, what is next week's title?
Next week's title is something good, I'm sure.
Episode 5, titled Something,
Right.
guys.
The way it goes. Hold on.
The pressure.
Yeah, no, I took everything out. I didn't know I was gonna be in the hot seat again.
I can tell you. Do you want me to just do it?
I mean, yeah, if you have it. Oh, don't be afraid. Just start the tape.
Bam.
There you go. Episode 5, season 2. Don't be afraid. Just start the tape.
That sounds like you
Like
should
Louis.
be afraid. That's what people say when you should be afraid, not when you shouldn't. You're afraid.
No one ever says don't be afraid when being afraid is not an option.
Well, why should be Louis who says that dumb shit?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be it.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Like Louis, you don't be afraid. Anyway.
It's probably gonna be how the first interview started.
Maybe that would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Is that how the first interview started? Don't be afraid. Just start the tape.
Or do you mean the
I want to
episodes?
say yes. Like, yeah, I'm trying to like remember. I'm trying to literally now. I'm like, am I projecting it to my mind that Brad Pitt said that?
Mm.
I do remember him saying something like, "Don't be afraid," but I don't remember if it was "Don't be afraid." Start the
Right.
two. Okay.
It would be cool if they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been an extra scrumptious episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you join us next week. Feel free to share your thoughts, feedback, tvmoviemistress@gmail.com. But outside of that, stay safe. Don't get turned into a vampire unless it's by a hot one who's got money. And that's
And you
it.
want to?
If you're a vampire and you don't have money, you have
You
failed at life. Because
absolutely
how you been
failed.
alive this long, and you like drink people's blood, and you haven't found a way to make some ducats.
Look, living right, like just end it. Just burn yourself. Yeah,
Just burn yourself.
just burn
Just burn yourself.
Just die.
On that note, that's how you end the episode, Mo. That's how you end the episode. Just burn
That's
yourself.
how, yeah, that's the top. I'm not peeking after that.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and bye.
Bye.
I blame the heat.
You're fucking hilarious.
I'm losing my mind.
Just die.